12 News striking a pose in the classroom.
I see students being more calm and less behavior referrals.
The daily routine that's helping students focus. Then, independently owned and operated, New Hope awaits new restaurants in the city. But first, an unprecedented event for the next great generation. 12 News starts right now. A Maple Grove man is among 25 veterans honored for not only serving his country, but also serving his community.
Wednesday night, Governor Dayton presented Ryan Erickson with the 25 Veterans Voices Award. 12 News reporter Sonia Goen shows us how he's helping other veterans not just survive, but thrive in civilian life.
My nickname is Swede, is what they call me.
Ryan Erickson Sr. served in the Marines from 2003 until 2007.
So yeah, I was much younger and skinnier.
He says making the transition from the Marines
So I was a sergeant, and then that was my stack of ribbons. Yeah, that's me.
to civilian life was tricky.
It took me a few months. Yeah, it was definitely, it took me a while to relax a little bit. You know, I was pretty wound up after I was in the Marine Corps.
He's now the president of Erickson Builders and Company.
I had a lot of mentors that helped me out.
The business has won top awards for being one of the fastest growing small companies in the country.
Getting on the phone and talking to them.
Erickson says part of that success comes from hiring veterans.
And just picking their brain on how you can properly, or what they see would be the best fit for them.
The unemployment rate for Minnesota veterans is about 5.2%, but the rate is much higher for younger veterans. The unemployment rate for veterans ages 18 to 24 is 7.5%. Experts say it has something to do with them having less job experience.
How much responsibility you have when you're 18, 19, 20 years old compared to a civilian at 18, 19, 20 years old. You have a lot more responsibility and knowing, you know, how to run people and equipment and making sure that's mission ready.
Erickson has also helped other veterans to find jobs in the community.
It doesn't take a lot of energy to help somebody else out that could be in the same position I was.
He says it's an honor to be recognized for his hard work.
Very excited. The hard work that you do and then get recognized in front of everybody and other veterans, it's nice.
In Rogers, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Erickson has 10 employees, and 3 of those workers are veterans. And Ryan says he wants to hire more veterans to help grow the company.
In Plymouth, firefighters took a moment Wednesday evening to remember 9/11. On the 12th anniversary of the attacks, the Plymouth Department paid tribute to the 343 New York firefighters killed. Fire officials say they showed unlimited courage for the benefit of strangers. They also say 9/11 challenged fire services across the country like never before.
The fire service has changed. We've seen it change. You will see it change throughout your career. But this was truly a defining moment for not only America, but also the American Fire Service.
Fire officials say they're confident firefighters will be meeting and remembering like this on September 11th for many years to come.
There's a population shift from the burbs and into the Twin Cities, but that doesn't mean local suburbs have stopped growing. A Metropolitan Council report shows Maple Grove gained 2,300 residents from 2010 to 2012. Plymouth also grew by more than 2,000 people. Brooklyn Park's population increased by 1,600 and remains the largest city in the Northwest Metro with 77,000 people. The city that gained the most people, well, that was Minneapolis. It actually led the state in new housing additions.
A Robbinsdale restaurant is getting a new look that pays homage to the city, but not everyone is thrilled with the color scheme.
But just all this mustard color is just overwhelming. I've seen people walk by and they just, some have said some words I can't repeat.
Diane Stone King lives across the street from St. Petersburg restaurant. The owners recently decided to paint the building bright yellow rather than keeping the off-white color, which some called grungy. City officials say customers had trouble finding the restaurant at the corner of 36th and France, so after being in business for more than a decade, the owners decided to try a brighter look that matches Robbinsdale's flag.
If you are trying to reach out to Robbinsdale and you are trying to show that you're excited about being in Robbinsdale and you choose to use the city flag color, I guess that's fine.
Marcia Glick says the city has no official guidelines to regulate a building's color scheme.
Well, Robbinsdale isn't the only city getting into the act with restaurant news. New Hope is seeing a mini surge of independent restaurants. 2 new independents will be opening soon, including Goose Eggs Deli and Diner. Goose Eggs will share part of the village on Quebec next to an independent coffee shop.
The other independent business is Mountain Mud, and they've been there for a couple years, so it should bring a lot of extra traffic to this area.
The other new independent opening is Claw's Seafood Restaurant on Bass Lake Road, where an old Taco Bell used to be. In addition, Mayor Hemken says several independents are thriving and expanding. Gion, a Vietnamese restaurant at 36th and Highway 169, and Frankie's Pizza at 36th and Winnetka, both recently renovated and expanded. Another restaurant, Outtakes, is an addition next to the New Hope Cinema Grill. One New Hope Elementary School is trying something new this year.
Teachers and students practice a form of yoga as a way to get ready to learn. Reporter Shannon Slatton visited a classroom to see what it's like.
So go ahead and start now.
Teachers often want students to focus and concentrate.
Put your hands over your heart and breathe in. Nice job. And then breathe out.
But in this class, Greg Sickinator teaches students how to find that focus.
Yoga Calm is a combination of the breathing we've done and some strength and balance poses.
Sickinator is the school's social worker, and he's been learning and practicing Yoga Calm for the past 4 years.
And Yoga Calm is more than just a yoga. Yoga is a small part of it. It's those other community building and the relaxation and the breathing, which really can help with anxiety. Reach into the sky, and then we're going to do a crescent moon.
This school year, he plans to expand the practice to several classrooms at Sonneson Elementary.
So strong legs, then we'll put our arms out again, strong arms. Anxiety is probably the biggest mental health issue for children. With the breathing, the mindfulness, the yoga poses, and the relaxation have all been shown to help with anxiety. And take 3 long, deep breaths.
So far, teachers and students have been ready to learn.
It calms me down.
So on the 5-point scale where 5 is upset and 1 is not being upset, it brings you down to a 1? Yeah. Perfect.
At the end of the school year, Sickinator plans to see if classroom behaviors have changed. But so far,
say to yourself,
the practice looks promising.
I am calm and relaxed. I see students being more calm and less behavior referrals when I'm doing it with them. I see students being able to get back to work once they're upset, more regulated.
In New Hope, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
A grant will make it possible for 2 other teachers at Sonneson to be trained in Yoga Calm. And I think a lot of workplaces could use that, right?
Right.
That's right. Coming up, a standout student who isn't afraid to tackle one challenge after another.
We head to Osseo High School next to meet him. And then later in sports, it's back to work after a big win for the Osseo Volleyball team.
But first, a return of the good sleeping weather. Temperatures with highs in the 70s run into the weekend.
Well, here's a chance to get rid of old electronics and do some good at the same time. A Golden Valley nonprofit called Tech Dump is teaming up with Boy Scouts in Maple Grove to collect old cell phones, computers, TVs, and the like. Tech Dump breaks down the electronics so they can be recycled. It trains disadvantaged workers who dig out the valuable parts.
They typically come from where they may not even have a regular job. Oftentimes, temporary employment is the best that they can get. So learning the skills from as simple as showing up every single day at the same time, calling if you're not going to make it in, to learning different skills of what these products are, identifying what's more valuable.
It's also a fundraiser for Boy Scouts who are helping collect recyclables in Maple Grove on Saturday. They'll be at the Rainbow Foods on County Road 30 and the Ethan Allen parking lot on Fountains Way from 9 to 1 o'clock on Saturday. This week's standout student considers himself a quiet leader who gets things done.
Osseo senior Tanner Wetzel is on his way to putting his mind to the big questions of the universe.
How would you find these vertical asymptotes?
As he tackles AP Calculus, there's no limit to what Osseo senior Tanner Wetzel can accomplish when he puts his mind to something.
He is the most committed, hardworking, driven student I think that I've ever worked with.
My passion has been science. Ever since I was little, science and math.
He's pushing himself to become a theoretical physicist one day. And yes, explanation, please.
They deal with discovering the origins of the universe, elementary particles down to the smallest of things that we know of that you really can't see.
So there's that. But that's not all. Elected National Honor Society president, Tanner is a student ambassador and 3-sport varsity athlete, including captain of the Nordic ski team. He also volunteers his time on the Maple Grove Rotary Ethics Committee, and that's where he took on this project, creating a mobile school store.
Some students weren't coming to class unprepared, either for financial reasons or just because they didn't have the stuff.
Tanner got grant money and designed and built this unit and another one for Osseo Junior High to see that his fellow students have the supplies they need to learn.
No small thing to get it up and running, and no small thing to keep it running.
Questions on your assignment?
Back in calc class,
the 11 is between -1 and 29. Then you can make your conclusion.
Tanner takes on the tough questions, preparing himself for a physics career tackling the big questions of our universe.
My dream ever since I was little has been making a difference. And with all the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm pretty much living that dream.
Tanner hopes to go to Gustavus next year and pursue a double major in physics and chemistry. It's a question to ponder. How can something be both beautiful and brutal?
Well, coming up, the new art sculpture in Plymouth that may actually fit the bill. But first in sports, Maple Grove's football team looks to stay on a roll as they host their second conference opponent of the season. John Jacobson with that and more in just a moment. Well, so far so good for Maple Grove football, but what kind of a test will this one be?
Elk River will be an interesting game. They had a pretty good season in 2012. Maple Grove beat them when they played head-to-head, a 3-point game. But Elk so far 0-2, so we'll find out Friday night. Maple Grove's football team is off to a 2-0 start as they prepare for their second Northwest Suburban Conference game of the season. The Crimson won 23-14 at Hopkins last Friday. They opened the year with a 41-0 shutout win over Armstrong. Friday night, Elk River comes to town. The Elks, with a physical defense and misdirection running attack on offense, will present a challenge.
Steve Hamilton does a great job over there as their coach, and they have a unique offense. They come out, so they make it tough to prepare for because it's totally kind of off the radar, what everyone else does, and they play hard.
They're always a pretty hard-nosed team. They have a pretty kind of tricky offense. It'll be a challenge for our D to conquer, but I like their defense. They play hard, but I think we should be able to find some holes and get some holes for Tahi.
Tahi, that Mitch Engel is referring to, is number 28, Tahi Nome, the senior running back who has rushed for 542 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Despite the team's good start, the Crimson know there's plenty of room to grow.
I think we got a long way to go. In the Hopkins game, we turned it over a lot of times, and it was a very unclean game, but I think we're making progress. We're having a good week of practice, and I think that the kids are excited to come out, so we're happy to be 2-0.
The Crimson and the Elks kick off early Friday at 5 p.m. at Maple Grove High School. That game replayed Saturday evening at 7 and 10 p.m. here on Channel 12. You can watch it live on the web Friday through our live stream link at 12.tv. Maple Grove's district rival Osseo has a big game Friday against Blaine. The Orioles are 1-1 coming into the contest with a road win over Centennial and a close 31-28 loss against now second-ranked Minnetonka last week. The Orioles had a 21-10 lead in the third quarter in that game before the Skippers rallied. Overall, the Orioles have played pretty well through 2 weeks but aren't satisfied.
We played good, but we can always improve. We have a lot to do.
We knew coming in that there was going to be a tough 3-week stretch. We played well in that first game, and then last Friday we just kind of gave that one away, and it's kind of stinging still. But we got to get over it because we got a Blaine team that's 2-0, and they're ranked right now too. So hopefully this tough schedule that we've played will pay off come playoff time.
Like Maple Grove's game against Elk River, the Osseo Blaine game isn't a division game in the new 2-division setup of Northwest Suburban Conference football that started last fall. That doesn't make it any less important to the Orioles.
We're preparing to take away the quarterback run because he's their best player as we see it on their offense. He likes to run, and he has a decent arm, but if we can stop him from running the ball when we're in coverage, then I think we'll do pretty good.
Osseo and Blaine kick off at 5 o'clock Friday at Blaine. By the way, Osseo and Maple Grove do not play each other this season. Osseo's volleyball team is back at work after scoring a very big win earlier in the week. The Orioles beat the defending Northwest Suburban Conference champion Blaine Bengals in 3 straight games. It's the Orioles' first win over the Bengals since 2009, and definitely one they enjoyed.
It was really rewarding because we've been working so hard in practice, and I have actually never beaten Blaine while being on varsity, so it was a really good feeling.
Just the calm on the floor yesterday and a couple tight games, big swings on big points, and just the confidence on the court was fun to see.
As much fun as that win over Blaine was, the Orioles know it won't mean much if they don't follow it up by working hard to get better. The win would seem to make them the team to beat in the Northwest Suburban, and they acknowledge that.
I would say that every year Blaine's the team to beat, so now that we've beaten Blaine, the target's on our back to beat, so everyone wants to beat us. So.
The big thing now is there's going to be a big target on our back. You know, we are the team, the first team this year to take down the defending region champ, and now everyone's going to want to come after us. So they're actually really focused and up for the challenge.
Osseo plays at Park Center Thursday night before competing in the Farmington tournament on Saturday. Good start for the Orioles. Prep football, some teams in action here on Thursday night. We'll have highlights from Totino Grace and Wayzata's home games coming up Friday starting at 4.
Great. Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, it is heavy, it's tall, and perhaps the perfect fit at Plymouth City Hall.
An up-close look at something sure to catch your eye when we come back.
Well, finally, it may be the first time you'll hear the words beautiful and brutal used together.
They're used to describe a new sculpture unveiled at Plymouth City Hall.
The form is figurative and is supposed to be a reaching for a common goal.
This 7-foot-high sculpture was done by an artist from Iowa. He calls it As One. The sculpture commemorates the 20th anniversary of the City of Plymouth's volunteer program. The artist, James Bearden, calls it a beautiful, brutal piece.
Well, it's great to see it in an area that is fresh and brand new. Well, the bronze is like a departure from this nice, clean, perfect environment, brand new environment. And my work is looks like it's old and unearthed, brutal bronze.
Bearden's sculpture was selected by a review board consisting of community members, the mayor, and a council member. And that does it for us. Thanks for joining us.
See you tomorrow.